Hey, what's up, folks? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Today's video, I want to go over a champion that I built recently for a very exciting part of content. Obviously, as a free-to-play player, you want to maximize, whatever you're doing in the game. So in this part, I love having solo farming champions that you can farm food as well as gear with. Obviously, with Plarium, they threw a little wrench into some of that with their turn attack stuff. So turn attack basically means you have to have the best team possible to defeat the stage in the fastest possible to get the most points. So that kind of puts a stoppage on, solo farming with food and all that. But that doesn't mean that these types of champions and builds don't have any use, because they're still normal tournaments and mainly during fusions. And those tournaments, when paired with champion training, for example, is perfect to have food in with you while you're dungeon farming. So in this video, I'm going to talk about a champion, actually a free login champion. After 630 days of logging into the game, you will get this champion, and it's going to be Arix here. Arix is actually, when I first experienced Arix in the game, she was used mainly as a lockout, anti-lockout champion. So if I had a lockout, they would bring in Arix, and Arix would just annihilate me with her A1. Basically, her A1 here is super strong. It's an AoE. It has, a 35% chance to remove random buff when fully booked. And then she has another AoE here, which has some debuffs on it. It has a stun on it. Stun. It's not a full stun. It's only a 75% stun. And then it has the transfer random debuff from this champion to the target that receives the stun. So yeah, she has basically two AoEs in her kit, and then she has like a more support-ish A3 3-turn cooldown ally protection counterattack. It's not particularly strong because you see ally protection, increased defense, plus counterattack type abilities almost. So this is just, that's not really her role, right? Her role is more like AoE damage almost. She has a cool passive here that makes this build work. Basically, it fills her turn meter by 5% each time an ally inflicts a crit. She is considered an ally, so every time she inflicts a crit, her turn meter increases by 5%. Also heals this champion by 5% of their max HP each time an enemy inflicts a crit against her, I guess. So she is actually really, really strong with this turn meter boosting. Base stats are actually really good. HP based champion, 23k HP almost. Still have a little bit of defense as well, and then the boosted crit damage here kind of helps with building her out. So the way it works for this build, this strategy, it's not my original strategy, of course. First time I saw this was on Tyraku's video. He's another content creator. Definitely check him out. I'll leave the link to the description of the video that I'm mentioning in the comments below. But that's where I saw this build first. His build is a little bit different because he was still doing Spider 9, I believe. But this build is Spider 10 hard, full solo with food, and you require the Slayer gear. Slayer gear is it's pretty much a pay to win set. And that's pretty much why I wasn't able to make this build until now. Because I had 30 crafts. That's all you get as a free to play player. You got 30 crafts to make some Slayer gear. And hopefully it ends up, you hopefully get some decent pieces from that. But quick note here, if you guys are, in the process of crafting your own limited sets. So when I say limited, as a free to play, you only get 15 copies of these per Forge Pass. So you see here, I got 15 Defiant, 15 Righteous, 0 Bolster because I did those already. For some reason, I have 50 Instinct. I don't know how I got that. But you don't get much. You don't get much of these every single Forge Pass as a free to play. If you pay for them, you're getting 200 of these crafts. So it's significantly, you get significantly more. So for me, it's like I really want like Bolster for Arena, but I only get like 15 or 30. We've only had like 30 crafts. So it's really, really hard as a free to play to get some of these limited sets. So if you guys are trying to craft some of these, make sure you guys use the best charms possible. You want to use all 3 of these charms. And then if you want to try to prioritize which piece you want and which substat you want. For example, if it's a damage set, I would probably go with one of the top 3. So weapon, helmet, and shield, and then go with crit rate. Crit rate is just the substat that you probably most want on your gear because it completes builds, right? Because you're never going to bring a champion into content without 100% crit rate. You can go in with less speed, you can go in with less crit damage, for example, and then, you know, you can increase speed, for example, to reach certain limits, but you can't increase crit rate with like glyphs, for example. And crit damage is just something that makes the run go maybe a bit faster. So to me, it's a complete luxury stat. Crit rate is the necessity stat, and you can't really get it anywhere else. So that's why I usually put crit rate here as the charm that you want, especially on these limited sets. And for this this piece here, this charm here, you want to target the top 3 pieces most likely, and you want to make sure that you have a good like stock of the weapon, helmet, and shield before you start gambling on the gauntlet, chest, and boots. The gauntlet, chest, and boots are harder to hit the right stats that you want, whereas the weapon, helmet, shield is much easier. So on a super limited set like this, you want to make sure you have these in good number before you start gambling on these ones, because the last thing you want is to start gambling on the bottom 3 and then not hitting anything usable, and then this set is completely garbage to you and you're done. The problem also is that these this set in particular, the Slayer set, it's a 1 to 9 set, and for this build to work, you need minimum 4 pieces to work. So it's not as easy as, for example, like Defiant, which is a 2-piece, or Righteous, which is a 2-piece. You can kind of slot in anytime. Slayer set, you need at least 4 pieces to make this work. However, the only way I managed to make this build work is with the introduction of the accessories. So the Slayer accessories that came with the Slayer set really helped, because it gave me a chance to get some pieces together that were kind of outside like the RNG of forging them. So I don't have particularly good accessories, but it doesn't really matter. They kind of work. Really lucky to get a 5-star crit damage one here, actually. I didn't have to roll it or anything. It just came as crit damage. So this one is really nice. And then I was able to get 2 top row pieces that kind of work. Like, look at this helmet. This helmet's kind of like pretty trash, has no damage stats on it, but it has the appropriate speed stat. And then this shield, which is, you know, it's kind of average. It works, so it's fine. But anyways, I'll show you guys the build here. So here's the build. 91k HP, 2.8k defense, 205 speed, 279 crit damage, 324 accuracy. So the key to this build is, 1, you need accuracy. Ideally, accuracy to stun the Spiralings. Once you place the stun on her A2, the stun can trigger this mastery here, Harvest Despair. So applying the leech gives your Arix some way to heal up. So that's really important, because your Arix will be taking tons and tons of damage. In order to survive tons and tons of damage, you probably need at least 80k HP. And at least this defense. This defense is actually really low. I would say at least 3k, because the spider is actually hitting you for over 40k on the first hit, and the spider will ramp up its damage. So the other important thing to realize is that against the spider, you won't actually have infinite time to defeat the spider, because the spider will ramp up damage and you will die eventually. So you do need this build to have sufficient amount of damage. And I found that with this build, it's almost bare minimum what you need to make this strategy work. Because I think if my run lasted 1 extra round of damage, I think I would probably die. So I'll show you guys the run here. Sorry, I'll go over the gear real quick. So gear pieces, just so you guys can have a quick look here. Yeah, I do have some ascended pieces. Like this one's not really like relevant. This one is relevant, extra 20% HP, and then this one has an extra bit of crit damage here. Went with the accuracy banner because I needed the accuracy to land the stuns. You're looking to aim for about 330. So I do have a little bit of boost here from my live arena bonuses. So 340. You're looking for about 330 accuracy against the hard 10 spider. But fully booked, not really. You can not fully book the A1. So I decided not to fully book the A1 because we don't need the debuff chance. The damage is good, but you don't need a debuff chance. So this one is good. You want this to be booked down to 3 turns, and then this one, if you can somehow avoid it, that's fine. So if you can avoid this one, that's fine. But these two, you need them booked for at least the damage, and you need the cooldown on the A2. All right, Hero Soul for a blessing. You get some boosted damage against bosses with extra living enemies. Makes sense for Spider. I think this one's the best. I'm not 100% sure. Also for the masteries, went with Helm Smasher here. Again, not 100% sure whether War Master is better or Helm Smasher. I just went with Helm Smasher because she actually doesn't have any ignore defense in her kit right now. So I imagine having the 25% apply at any time would be a good damage boost, but maybe War Master is better overall since it does hit the big mama a little bit harder. So the key here is to take Harvest Despair so you can apply the leech so you can heal up. I also ended up taking Life Drinker because this build, at least my current build, requires the healing. You could go for the bigger first hit, although I think that overall is pretty low benefit. The other thing you go for is single out for some more damage when they get kind of low. But I like the extra healing just to make sure that the run goes a little bit smoother. So as for the speed totals, you really want at least, I would say 200 speed. I found that this 205 is probably, you can probably get away with maybe lower. But like I said, if you guys view the run, you guys will see that the run might be on its last leg. So that's why I think these are probably some of the lower end stats that you could require to achieve this strategy. You definitely want to be slower than the Spider. So Spider is 245. You definitely want to be slower so the Spider gets the first hit, wipes out your food. So you don't do any like weird stuff. I don't know, weird interactions somehow. But yeah, we'll do a run here and then we can discuss it a little bit further. Unfortunately, it does require presets, so it's a little bit annoying that way. I haven't found a way to get it to work without presets. So it does require presets here. I would advise maybe putting in like 3-star or 4-star chickens so that you can rank them up over more runs. There you go. So we'll do something like this. Show you guys how it works. If you guys have like a better aura, definitely use that instead, but we're just using 4 free garbage foods. All right, so Arix is slower. Spider goes first, kills the food. All right, you see the stuns there, landing the leech. Sometimes maybe the RNG will prevent you from getting leech, but Arix does have some built-in healing in her kit. And she does have Life Drinker, so she's never going to be like that bad of shape. You see there, she got hit with a crit for 63,000 HP. So yeah, so it's tough because you want to add as much damage as possible. You want to go as fast as possible. That means you're applying your AoEs as much as possible, getting back to your A2 for more healing. So if you have a better build, basically more crit damage, more HP, if you're faster, like 240 speed or something, this run would be a lot faster. For me, I've done maybe like 10 of these just to test it, and it's been a consistent 1:15, minute 15. The videos that I've seen related to this were slightly faster, but I have absolutely the worst build out of everyone. See, there you go, 1:15. Very, very consistent, very consistent run. Like I said, if you have better gear than my Arix, you definitely could go faster. I think this is completely dependent on how good your gear is. Because if Arix kills the Spiderlings, the Big Mama won't be able to heal. All right, so let's do another run. But instead of jumping into another run, I'm going to show you guys a better build that I put together. Hopefully, it'll be a bit faster. But let's see how it goes. So let's jump into that here. So I got the Arix. I rebuilt her just a little bit just to add a little bit more power to her. So the HP relatively the same, defense slightly lower, maybe like 100 lower. I've added a little bit more speed, not too much, and about 25 or so or 30 crit damage, keeping accuracy relatively the same. Let's see here. So we're just going to go to the Spider stats. So 326, just about right for the boost there. definitely, yeah, 218 speed with the boost here and 2% ignore defense. So about the same, a little bit more damage. So let's see if it is actually a bit faster. I did find a better banner here as well with the counter attack. So this will give us a 5% chance of counter attacking when we're hit, which is actually really good for Arix. So let's see if that makes a difference here. Okay. All right, so spider goes first. We get hit. We lose our food. See him go. All right, lighting some stuns. That's good to see. Killing stuff. That's good. All right. Oh, was that a counterattack? I'm not too sure. Definitely could use a bit more damage, I think, but this seems okay. The A2 hits pretty hard compared to the A1. Okay, so it absorbs 4, similar to what the spider was absorbing previously, 4 spiderlings. Seems faster. Spider seems to be lower HP than previous. Okay, that's a pretty big hit. We barely survived that. Hopefully we can get this run going here. A2. All right. So that is a faster run, 1:02. So yeah, much faster run than before. So just adding a bit more crit damage, making her go a little bit faster. I think the easiest part to build her up from here is probably to work on your live arena just to add the bonuses. For me personally, like I don't have that much Slayer gear, so I actually changed up my Slayer gear here. So yeah, this, like you can see this piece not very good, and then this is the other piece I'm using, also not very good, but you can see that the crit rate did land here from my charm probably. Here's the new helm that I had to sub in. I did manage to roll crit rate on the gloves, so that helped alleviate some of the stat requirements. And like I said, I did find this revenge banner, which is okay, and I can get a little bit more accuracy if I max roll this up. But if she can go a bit faster, have a bit more damage, she's going to be more successful. Maybe under a minute for her. But overall, I think it's pretty successful. I think in terms of survivability, you probably need somewhere around these stats. Either 3k defense and 80-ish k HP, or similar defense as mine, 2.6k and 90k HP. You need that health pool to buffer against the spider killing you. And then you need enough damage to kill the spiderlings fast enough so that you can recover and kill the spider before he ramps up and just kills you. But anyways, guys, hopefully this shows what basically like a free to play can actually achieve with this kind of build with the Slayer gear. Yeah, and since these accessories didn't come from Hydra Clash, you can break up some of these Slayer pieces into the top 6 here. So you can have 4 on top or 3 on top and 1 accessory, for example. And then just try to make it work, right? Yeah, hopefully I showed you guys what was capable from a free to play standpoint. This is a really, really good strategy and build just to have some food for your tournaments and fusions. Just gonna be a little bit more efficient with and all that stuff. So anyways, guys, that's gonna be it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Is this something you guys thought of? Personally, I had to pull Arix out and build her myself. Otherwise I wouldn't have done it. So this is a pretty cool strat. So yeah, anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate you all, and I'll see you guys in the next video.